back from digital assets and blockchain for a moment. Let's talk about where the internet was, where it's come to, where it's going, right? We're trying to level set here for policymakers. So originally, the internet was a read-only format, in essence. We're consuming information. And then there's additional layers that we place on. It became much more interactive. But counterintuitively, much more interactive, but much more centralized in Web 1, Web 2. What we're hearing now is Web 3. Policymakers need to understand the nature of Web 3. This is a hearing about a component of Web 3. Now, along those lines, what are the characteristics that defined Web 1 and Web 2?
Mr. McHenry, thank you very much for that question. I think that's critical to understanding what we're all trying to build here. So the characteristic of Web 1, people remember their original AOL account, was an ability to look in a curated walled garden at a set of content that was not interactive but was presented to you on AOL the way that Time magazine used to show you the articles they wanted you to see inside of their magazine. Just you could see it on a screen. The innovation of Web 2 was that suddenly you could not only read content, but you could also write content. This is when the blogosphere became a big thing. People remember this from the late 90s, the early 2000s. The reason for the centralization of the internet, of course, was that all of that activity was being monetized by a very small number of companies. Facebook, as the chairwoman mentions, Google, and 2 or 3 other companies. What makes Web 3 different is the ability to own the actual network. And that's what crypto assets themselves represent, is an ownership stake in an underlying network. So when you hear people talk about, for example, layer 1 tokens, what they mean is this is your reward for providing the ledger maintenance services, the computing power to the network that on Web 1 and 2 was done by Google. Right? So now people in my hometown of Pueblo, Colorado can actually own the Ethereum network, but they can't own the internet. That's owned by Google and a few other companies. That's what the Project Crypto is all about, is allowing people to directly own the networks that have native assets that are supporting it. And that's the nature of decentralization, where the token holders are the people who control the assets, not
so
Google.
Token holders, for our language here on the Hill, those are digital assets, right? Which are the keys to open up the ledger for you to participate, right? So describe to us how those digital assets fit into this internet revolution, Web 3.
So the concept is that you have sort of application layer tokens and you have protocol layer tokens. So if I'm an owner of Bitcoin, let's say that I'm a miner of Bitcoin, somebody who actually creates Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is the reward I receive for doing the work to keep the network operational. And that allows me to own a piece of the Bitcoin blockchain. Or take Ethereum, which is easier to understand. The Ether token represents an ownership stake in the network, but on top of that network are all kinds of apps that get built on the network, much like the apps on your phone depend on the underlying network existing that lets the phone operate. And so people will make judgments about which network is likely to win, and they will invest in the tokens in that network.
Testing. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining just another crypto show. Because there's so many crypto shows out there. So, what makes this special? Can't really tell you, to be honest. But I'm Ed. Thanks for joining. And the thing that makes this show special. Oh wait, let me turn my mic. The thing that makes this show special is that I'm sharing my personal journey. That's what makes it unique and special, because this is my journey through learning investment strategies, learning how to manage my finances better, and primarily sharing the crypto part of that, because this year 2021 is when I started this journey, and I quickly gravitated towards crypto. So here we are. All right. So this is what I wanted to share today. It's a bit unfortunate that I did this whole entire show last Saturday, I believe, and it was stuck on the first frame. I did the whole show, and it stayed on the first frame the entire time. And I didn't notice it till Sunday that I had it taken down. And here I am doing the same exact thing all over again. But that's what I get for not checking. I gotta check microphone, check video, check. Also now I see on a monitor that everything looks good. So let's take these headphones on and let's jump right in. Let's just jump right in. So there is some congressional stuff that I wanted to share with you. There was a congressional meeting. A bunch of guys on Capitol Hill in the U.S. were discussing crypto and basically leaning towards how they should regulate crypto. All in all, I mean, this is slightly old news, but it's big news, right? This is really big news, and I just wanted to share a couple highlights with you from that meeting. The whole entire thing is about 5 hours long. It's online. It's on YouTube. You can watch the whole entire thing. I of course I did, and a lot of interesting things there. The sentiment is that, well, I feel that the sentiment is good because I have a feeling. Well, here's what it is, right? I feel that crypto's it's created a life of its own. It's growing. It's growing on its own organically. You can't really stop it unless you were to shut down all the power in the world. It's just not going to happen, right? And they see. I feel that I'm just taking a guess here, but I feel a lot of institutions, and I think I mentioned this before, a lot of institutions already feel that this is a battle they cannot fight. You cannot fight it because it's a beast in itself. And so now, like, I remember early, even in the summer, you're hearing a lot of news about banks against crypto, all this about against crypto, a lot of FUD coming out in the news against crypto. And already recently you're seeing changes in in the attitudes of many institutions. Banks are embracing crypto now. Visa, MasterCard, big banks. Soon they're going to be, I'm quite sure, sooner or later you can go into your local bank and just move assets into crypto or have a crypto wallet within that. They're gonna have to, because now what's happening is people are taking their money out of banks and putting it in different assets, and that's one thing, because the banks they're giving you negative interest rates. I mean, the point is, if you're still leaving a ton of cash in the bank, you're really losing. You're losing money slowly. They are killing you. They're just dripping. Imagine if you're leaving your money in a bank, it's like you have a cut in your vein and you're permanently slowly dripping blood out of that vein slowly. That's what's happening. Because you have the maintenance fees, you have negative interest rates. I mean, like, what's the point then? What's the point of keeping it there if you have just those two things alone? What's the point, right? And they're just taking your money and they're using it. They're lending it out, and you're basically paying the banks to do their job. You're paying them, and they're taking your money. Like, what do you get out of it? Nothing, right? And people are quickly realizing this. And the fact is, you're dumb. Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but that's a dumb thing to do, to leave large amounts of money in the bank. Really, at this point, a bank is only a means to transfer, to make a lot of people to receive salary, and this is a medium to transfer money through fiat into other places, right? Because in this day and age, rather than leaving it in a bank, you might as well just stick it into a blue chip stock, right? Stick it. You got 10 grand in the bank, you might as well put 10 grand in Google or 10 grand in not financial advice. By the way, nothing on the show is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? But you might as well put it in Amazon or Microsoft, right? You'll have better chances there than you will in a bank. So the sentiments like they're in this congressional meeting, you could see that they're trying to have a conversation. So I feel it's quite positive. Although there were some people there that you could tell there were some Karens. There were definitely some Karens and a couple Kens, not as many, but more Karens on Congress side. You could tell that they were really on the offensive. Rather than trying to be collaborative and seeing where this is going, they were more on the offensive. You could sense it. But I do appreciate the congressmen, the people like this gentleman here. He seemed very, very seemed like a smart guy, and he seemed very open to collaborate with the people. They were talking with a lot of people from the crypto space, people that work in the crypto space. Someone from Coinbase, somebody from Pax. This guy I believe was can't recall at the moment. Sorry. So let's see. Let me play another clip. Let me get my headphones on real quick. Let me play another clip because I find this quite interesting, actually. Wait.
Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is the reward I receive for doing the work to keep the network operational.
Oh, I think
that allows me to own a piece of the Bitcoin blockchain.
Let's play out.
Or take Ethereum, which is easier to understand. The Ether token represents an ownership stake in the network, but on top of that network are all kinds of apps that get built on the network, much like the apps on your phone depend on the underlying network existing that lets the phone operate. And so people will make judgments about which network is likely to win, and they will invest in the tokens in that network much the same way you might invest in Google stock because you think Google is going to scale access to the original internet. The difference being here, you can vote on what happens in the future of a proof of stake network, for example. You can get rewarded through a proof of work token for maintaining a ledger on something like Bitcoin. But the real message here is that what happens on the decentralized internet is decided by the investors, versus what happens on the main internet is decided by Twitter, Facebook, Google, and a small number of other companies.
Okay, so
So I thought what he said there was quite interesting, where it's you can see he kind of goes back into talking about Web3, right? Where again, this gentleman here mentioned it earlier at the beginning, where Web 1 was like AOL when the internet started, right? Some of you were there. Some of you were very maybe babies, or if you're watching this, you might have been babies, and you're very lucky because you can make a lot of money right now if you're starting right now in this game. But Web 1 was AOL, basically just getting information, being able to access information. Web 2 was where we are now, where you could post information. You can now create information and post it, although it's all controlled by these, by Google, Twitter. There's, it's mostly controlled by these big companies. Whereas now Web 3 is going to be somewhere where we have more control, right? Where for example, like the metaverses, we're taking much more stake at what's going on. Right? The thing is with like, for example, Ethereum, he mentioned he has the example of Ethereum. A lot of these applications are built on Ethereum. A lot of the applications that we're going to be using, that mainstream will be using in, I don't want to say how, in the near future, maybe, or near to some kind of near future, a lot of the applications that the mainstream will be using will be written on Ethereum, right? And even if, when that happens, a lot of people that don't even care to know about crypto and how it works will be using these applications without even caring or knowing how it's working. They're gonna know this application by whatever app, could be something like Oasis. I don't know. I I thought of that right now as a random possibility, a random thing. So if there is an app called Oasis out there, it has nothing to do with that. But for example, they're just gonna know, okay, let me use my Oasis to check this thing, right? And they're not even gonna know what Ethereum is or care, even though it's written on Ethereum, right? And that's the cool thing about it, because now, you know, we when now Google's out, we had no stake in Google. People weren't able to buy you know, the tools that create Google, right? We can't really take part of it like as we do with Ethereum. People, you can stake Ethereum. You can buy Ethereum tokens and have a stake in the protocol. So we have a lot more. And where does cryptocurrency fit into all this? It's the currency that's going to, it's not just currency as far as like money, although there is value in it. That's the beauty of it. There is value in these things, and hence money can be converted into value. But basically, it's in some ecosystems that's going to be the gas. Like, you know, if you're running something on Ethereum and you have to make a transaction, there has to be some sort of a transaction fee or a gas fee to make that transaction occur, right? Unfortunately, currently, these Ethereum gas prices are very, very high. But the point is, you can own parts of what makes the system work. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly, but basically, he probably has. This guy is much more eloquent than me. You know, I'll have him explain some more. Let's see here. 1 second. What was another one? Let's this one over here. This was a decent one right here. Let's play this. Volume up. Okay. Come on.
Who are listening to what some folks are saying, not just here on this panel, but in the larger world. So the folks that say, what do you say to the folks that say, basically, this doesn't seem like a new financial system per se, but really an extension or perhaps expansion of our present one?
Well, I would disagree with that. I think what I believe we're seeing is a new open infrastructure layer on the internet, a missing infrastructure layer of the internet that is designed around value exchange and economic coordination, that is rooted in immutable data, the ability to interact with counterparties in a very, very safe way that hasn't existed before on the internet. And really, many of the efficiencies that the internet brings in terms of moving information brought into moving value, but also with greater degrees of security than are often offered through the existing financial system. So I really do believe we're building a new global economic infrastructure layer, and we're certainly—
And you would say that that's not distinct. You would argue that that is distinct, not an expansion or an increase in the sophistication of our current financial system.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. I think she's quite a beautiful person. It's hard. She seems like one of the people. She seems a bit of a. I like her in previous political views, but here, I don't know. She seems a bit kind of attacking this whole thing, rather than finding more. She was talking about like, hey, check this, check that. Well, it appears that this, that. Can you explain this? Kind of reminded me when I was a kid. You're getting in trouble, but the teacher at school, and you're getting in trouble, but teachers, it's like super hot. It's like completely confusing. You're not really sure how you're supposed to feel.
I believe, for this to take hold, it needs to be well integrated with our existing financial system, and we've long believed in a kind of hybrid model that does that.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. The gentlelady's time.
And let me see. There's another clip here that I want to share. No, not that one. Hold on.
Payment system innovations in the world have been driven by the professional
just a couple clips
interactions
here that's
or
quite good.
The crypto economy is that it creates of assets. And that sort of market competition is something that I think will ultimately shore up our monetary policy, and captiveness of the dollar, highly inflationary. I think that's really a short amount of time. What that tells me is that in global central bank holdings, well, Mr. Luca,
to U.S. customers as well.
As digital assets become more common in the global marketplace, with the total digital asset market reaching almost $3 trillion, as Ranking Member McHenry just said, how do we ensure the U.S. dollar remains the reserve currency?
well, Mr. Lukemeyer, it's terrific to see you again, and I'd give you a couple of thoughts on that important question. One is, if we start with stable coins before we talk about other crypto assets, I've said for a long time that the secular reduction in dollar holdings as a percentage of global central bank holdings is alarming. And this has been going on for more than 10 years at this point. So dollars as a share of the European Central Bank, the Japanese Central Bank, et cetera, has shrunk from 80+% to more like 60+% in a short amount of time. What that tells me is that in the future, with the rise of China and other major economies, the US dollar can't take its primacy for granted, and we need to start thinking about competing on utility, on features, not just based on a post-World War II monetary system that we could take for granted for the last 2 generations. And that's one of the reasons that I've been such a supporter of internet-enabled dollars, which allow us to compete on features, not only on history. I think that's really critically important. The second thing I would tell you is, as we enter year 11 or 12 of a highly inflationary environment, after all, we've been printing enormous numbers of new dollars since the financial crisis, there will come a time, gradually then suddenly, when the attractiveness of the dollar relative to other currencies could change. One of the benefits of the crypto economy is that it creates some counter incentives on the part of the Fed to do that kind of policy, because people will flee to other kinds of assets. And that sort of market competition is something that I think will ultimately shore up our monetary policy and keep the dollar where it rightfully ought to be, which is as the dominant reserve currency it's been for all of our lives.
So what's interesting, what I'm taking from that, what I find very interesting are a couple things. That one, the US dollar, oh wait, my mic, hold on. Yeah, that's better. The US dollar is like the global currency. It still is. It's still like, I was having this I was having a conversation with someone last weekend, and there was some, I forgot where it went, but I think I was mentioning how it's annoying how here in Europe, in the Netherlands, I think Germany and some other European countries, they swap the commas and the periods, right? So like $1.50 in the US is 1.50, whereas here it's 1.50. You quickly get used to it, but it's like, it was a conversation where it's like, oh, you know, who's right? I mean, maybe the US are the ones that got it like switched, like wrong, like, you know, the commas should be periods and vice versa. And I'm like, man, you know what? You find 2 Dutch people in the middle of Amsterdam talking about Bitcoin. They're not talking about the price of Bitcoin in euros. They're talking about the price of Bitcoin in dollars. All right, that same price they're talking about in China, in Japan. We are now at 49,000 US dollars in Bitcoin. Is it 49? Yeah, 48. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So everything is still valued against the US dollar, right? But quickly, with all this money printing, inflation, the US dollar is going to quickly loses value more faster than it already is. And what's interesting about cryptocurrency is that these currencies it's not just value. There's a utility attached to it, right? So, granted, Bitcoin is primarily a stored value. It's just a value, but you could also do other things with it as far as, well, actually, I'm not quite sure. Actually, I did hear something today that there's some games being written on it. But okay, Bitcoin, that's just mostly primarily value. But Ethereum, Solana, Terra Luna, all these different crypto assets, not only do they have a value attached to it, but they also all have utility, right? So we're moving in that direction where it's not, just having a price on it is not enough. You got to give me something. You got to make it. It has to work. It has to work, right? And also the dollar has to remain. I think the dollar to keep its stance as a global currency, we have to, we gotta stay in the game. Because what's happening, if they put too much regulation, on crypto, it's just gonna move somewhere else, right? You put a bunch of laws. Here, what happened? China banned Bitcoin, right? So all the miners, they just moved. They moved to Kazakhstan. They moved to Texas. They left China, right? In New York, they're so difficult with crypto over there. I don't know why, but I'm sure a lot of people are just moving out to New Jersey. Go Jersey. So you can't put too much regulation because it's just gonna move somewhere else. It's gonna continue. You're not gonna stop it. Like what happens? You can't. This is kind of a bad example, but it's a fair example. It's the U.S. is putting so much tax regulation on crypto. Every time you make a trade, if you're making profit, you're gonna have to pay taxes on it, and they're being very, very strict with that. So what happens? People get VPNs. They'll find ways. People are gonna find ways. My suggestion is to find if you're a young male, I would look for a European partner. Just move out to Europe is what I would do. Come out here. I'm half joking but half not. When I have my nephew, when he was out here a couple of years ago for the summer, and we the whole family, we went down to Paris and it was great. It was my kids and their cousins basically. My nephew was like, "Man, Uncle Ed, this is so cool. I love it out here. How can I get out here?" And I said, "You know what? Here's my advice to you." And this is I'm half joking, but maybe I'm not. Like, he's like me. He's half black, half Filipino. But even better version, he's like tall, right? I got the shitty version. I got the short, half black, half Filipino, but I'm short. He's tall, super handsome dude. I'm like, bro, just come out here. You can stay with me. Take some, You're gonna find a woman. Trust me, you'll find a woman, meet a girl, and just she'll import you, and you can live with her and just start a life here. Pick a country. Parisians, they love tall, dark men. You know what? Being a male or being dark has nothing to do with it. Point is, you make it too difficult for people to live their life the way they want to, they will find somewhere else to do that. All right, that's the whole point of what I'm trying to say. Okay, what else do we got here? There was something else that I wanted to show you.
To clarify very quickly, earlier today in the hearing, Representative Velasquez asked about proprietary trading on the Coinbase platform.
Whoops.
Talk about the difference between a stable coin versus a central bank digital currency, and what advantages does a stable coin offer that a digital dollar, say at the Fed, would not be able to offer?
Thank you, Congressman Barr. I'm happy to. I think the first difference is that stablecoins are operational and growing in the market today, and they're built on an open internet technology model. So when we think about all of the things that we've seen built on the open internet, on these open protocols and networks, whether it's ubiquitous information exchange, communications, interaction around the world, that same open internet model is the foundation for stablecoins. And so I think that's a fundamental difference. A CBDC, which is a concept right now, it's not operational, would very likely be a very closed loop technology that's tightly administered and run by the government, and would unlikely be accessible in the same way that these open networks are accessible. And so I think that's a critical difference. But I would come back to the most important, which is that most payment system innovations in the world have been driven by the private sector. And I think what's taking place today with digital currency is no different.
Can you talk about some of the negative consequences that could happen if we take a heavy-handed approach to regulating this developing technology?
Well, I come back to Mr. Vargas's question a second ago, which I think is the right way to answer your question. Mr. Vargas asked the question of people have the potential to lose a lot of money. These things are volatile, they're risky. How do we protect them from those kinds of issues? There are two ways of answering that. One is to prevent as many people as possible from accessing this amazing technology. For example, the way the current legal regime works is certain kinds of assets can only be purchased by accredited investors, meaning rich people. So the only people who can get rich on this are people who are already rich. That'd be one way of protecting people from losing money, is to make sure that only the richest can access it. Another way of addressing it would be to make it safer the way that we made equities safer 40 years ago, right? We created mutual funds, diversification, sector funds, and other things that make it easier for regular Americans from places like my hometown in Colorado to buy equities without having to be stock experts. Strangely, in the US, we've refused to do that so far. So we don't allow crypto mutual funds. We don't allow people to diversify the way that they do in Canada, Germany, Singapore, the United Arab Emirates, and a series of other regulated economies around the world. So I would argue the way to win is to bring more people into the system more safely, not to keep them out at their own peril.
So I represent the South Bronx, which is often said.
So he pretty much nailed it right there, what he was saying, that the U.S. government needs to embrace this technology because it's innovation. And the thing is, me personally, what attracts me, I'm probably good. I probably said this before, and I'll say it again and again. What really attracts me to the crypto space, it's not so much it's a very lucrative endeavor where you can make a lot of money, and that's just a bonus to what really interests me, is that the technology. This is where technology is going. I'm a big fan of. I've always loved technology. I love robots. One of these days, I would like to have my own robot one day that I can just hang out with. Love robots. Love technology. And this is disruptive. This is changing the way people think, the way people play games, the way you use your money, the way you look at even your perceptions on value. Well, anyway, let's move on. What's next? Nacho dip. Stand strong. Well, I recorded this. Well, I made this list last weekend, and when there was, I believe this was it here. What's today's date? Yes, it was here. The dip. Another. Well, we're still suffering from this dip when Omicron came on the scene, right? And then it started going up, then we went down again. More FUD, and we're here. And basically, my stance is, well, there's two things here, right? Let's look at the 4-hour chart. I like the 4-hour chart. So this can go anywhere. I'm committed to the fact. No, it's not a fact. It's a optimistic view where we're at the bottom and we're gonna go up. Well, there's a chance that Let me see. Let me go in. Let me zoom in. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good bottom, as you can see, apart from this wick, right? But it didn't close there, so it's safe to say that it's possible that we hit bottom, right? So I'm thinking, people are speculating that there is a bear market that's coming, because this year was very, very bullish, right? And it's like yin and yang, what goes up must go down eventually, but all in all, it's a sort of an up. It's an uptrend. If you zoom out, if you zoom out and say like months, it's always like a uptrend. If you look at any the market in general, right? But there's gonna be like long times, there could be weeks, months. In the past, I heard like a year or, so, or a couple of years where it's just a bear market where things are just generally going down, and well, so that's what we have to kind of prepare for and be ready for. So, the what we're hoping, what a lot of people in the space are hoping right now, that we're not already in the bear market, because all we know, this was the local top 68. And by the way, I will usually always talk in terms of Bitcoin, because not only am I invested in Bitcoin, but also Bitcoin kind of is like the mother of all the coins, right? Everything kind of follows Bitcoin in a sense. Right? Bitcoin's doing good, the rest of the market is doing good, and vice versa, right? So that's the reason why I'm always going to be looking at Bitcoin for the most part. So we're hoping that this is not the bear market. For all we know, this could be going down for a while. Hopefully not, right? Hopefully we're that there's one more pump, and it'll go. Hopefully higher than 70. Originally, the sentiment was Bitcoin to 100K would be nice. We don't. Who knows? It was supposed to happen by the end of this year, this month. That looks unlikely. A lot of people are saying that this is probably going to be an extended cycle, right? That carries into like the first quarter of 2022. Could be. And nobody really knows what's going to happen, right? But the reason why I'm committed to this is because of the fundamentals. There's so much going on. Like, this is sooner or later, cryptocurrency will be mainstream. We see all these things happening. We see countries adapting Bitcoin, using it as their official currency. We're seeing a lot of institutions buying in. The whole metaverse, the gaming is going crazy right now. That's another thing I'll touch on in a second. And there's so much going on in the space that it's hard to believe that it's the beginning of a bear, or we're at the bear market. It just doesn't seem fundamentally. It's just there's too much going on where we're going to be going down from here, right? When it's only just starting to catch on. I'm having more and more people, friends and family, asking me questions about crypto, asking me, funny enough, about Shiba Inu or whatever, right? Asking me, hey, what should I buy? So I just it's becoming more and more mainstream. I don't think this is a bear market. I just can't. And the thing is, here's my thing. Once you're committed to something, right, you have to stay committed. So I've been dollar cost averaging this whole time for the past like almost a month now, right? Buying these dips and fucking shit. I really hope we're on our way up, because I'm running out of money. I'm buying at all these freaking dips. The main guys, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, throwing Terra Luna in there now. So I hope that we're on our way up, right? Let's see. But either way, up or down, if it is up, let's so here's my way of taking the situation, right? And this is the way I process and move ahead. And I'm sure there's a lot of room for improvement on what I'm about to say, but this is what I do, right? So I take the two possible scenarios. It's either up or down, right? It's basically that's basically the two options, right? And if it goes up, great, it's gonna be great. We're gonna make a lot of money. If it goes up, right? But if it does go up, we have to start taking profits, but not everything, and prepare for the fact that it will go down again, right? Because what you don't want to be, for example, you made so much money up here, you held on, and then it dropped, and there's people here that made a ton of money that were up here, and they're still holding on. Well, yeah, and maybe they had the other chance to break even here, or keep their profits, and they didn't. Hey, maybe this is it. We're gonna go higher, and then now we're back down again. So timing the top and the bottom, that's very difficult. It's not, it's just not really possible. Of course, nothing is impossible, but it's extremely difficult. So you just have to be prepared to know when to get out, right? And what I would like to do, because it's all about collecting more and more Bitcoin. So collect your profits, sell some of the Bitcoin, redistribute the wealth and the profits, and then wait for another bottom, and then buy even more Bitcoin or other assets. Right? But I just say Bitcoin because that's where that's the store of value, and it's all about accumulating Bitcoin because it's scarce. So that's the plan. Now, if we go down from here, that's going to be shit. But if that does happen, then you have to be prepared. So what am I going to do if it goes down? Well, what am I going to do when it goes down? I am basically just going to park my apps somewhere else and not look at charts for a long time and just walk away and find something else to distract me for a while. Maybe a ton of reading on the topics, but something else to distract me and wait for it to come back might be a very long time. But that's, I'm willing to do that. I'm not going to sell, because once you sell, that's when you lose your money. When you sell at a loss, that's when you realize your loss. So people are losing money if you're losing money in crypto at the moment, that's unrealized losses. So meaning you didn't really lose yet until you sell it. But that's what I would do. So that's the plan. So if it goes up, great. Plan an exit, make a really good exit plan. If it goes down, just walk away, come back when the bulls come back. So that's my plan. Not the best plan, but you gotta have a plan for up and down, right? So my thing is stay strong, hang in there, don't sell. Now, Operation Pizza Party, what's that? So what is Operation Pizza Party for me? So this is the whole thing. There's a lot of talk about hedging against inflation. Where should you put your cash, right? Where should you put your money? Because again, like I mentioned earlier, if you leave it in the bank, you're just losing. You're losing. So where do you put it, right? So you can put in stocks. That's a good thing. Put in some blue chips. You can put it in crypto, but it's super volatile, as you can see. Super volatile. So me, I believe I mentioned this on my last episode, but I decided that the safest place for me is real estate. In this case, my house, right? Now, this is my personal situation. Everybody's situation is different. Maybe you already have houses and you want to go into something more volatile and flip your money much more. Or maybe you're a young person that very young, no family, no kids, you don't even care about real estate yet, or owning your own house, and you want to, you have a lot of money to play with. Everybody's situation is different. My situation is, I'm a father, I got a house, I want to pay this house off, so my kids will never have to worry about, will always have somewhere to live, right? So I have something to leave them, right? So that is Operation Pizza Party, to pay off this house as quickly as possible. And I've been doing that. I've been doing, especially I had that little it wasn't a scam, but it really felt like one, and I really thought I lost a lot of money there, but luckily was not the case. Thank God. But that was like a wake-up call, and one thing about me, I'm quite headstrong. When I'm into something, I go hard, right? That's just me. I go hard, right? And I think I was a bit too headstrong, taking too many risks, while I was getting very excited in this investment process. And I thought, man, so it taught me that, and it taught me again to appreciate, you know what? Let's put our money somewhere more safe. So that's Operation Pizza Party, right? So I'm breaking it down like this. This is what I broke down. For now on, all my extra income that I get. I'm not talking about like salary and because that's related to overhead, and I have other ways of investing on that side. But this is extra income that I receive, be it from a lot of my freelance work, just extra income, right? So right away, 34% is gonna, or it could be profits as well. 34% is going to go to the house, 10% going towards my kids' dollar cost averaging, because they now all have crypto portfolios, so I'll be splitting that up amongst them, just dollar cost averaging for them. 15% towards travel, a travel account, because we like travel, kind of like a holiday account as well. 15% towards taxes and renovation. Now, I put that together because taxes, I hate that fucking category, but it's a necessary thing. I have a good tax guy. He's been getting me, he's been making me money actually. I don't know how he does it, but he does a good job. But either way, I have to be responsible and put some money aside for taxes, right? So 15% is going to go to that, and that's also going to be shared with a fund with I'm just going to start, putting money towards renovating my kitchen. That's that. And 21% towards investments. That will be dollar cost averaging on my own crypto portfolios, or just whatever. If I hear something and I see the fundamentals are really good, I'll put it into there. And 5% to treat yourself, right? That's something that I'm learning more, that I have to treat myself sometimes. I'm a workaholic, and I'm very, very hard on myself. I'm the first person that I get mad at myself, and sometimes I stay angry at myself. If I make a mistake, I stay angry at myself for like days, and that's not healthy. It's not healthy. And I'm always, I'm a giving person. Like if you know me, I like to. Well, if you know me really well, that you know that nearly everything I like to do revolves around my kids, and if you're part of my circle, I like to, where I can help and give, I like to do. And I do that so much that I forget about myself. So now I remember I got to treat myself. So every little 5% treat myself with something, right? So that is the plan. That's my plan. And that might change, that might evolve, but that's the how I'm breaking it down, right? And that brings us to my updated money flow, which now I'm going to share with you. Here we go. Excuse the it's a bit messy, but let me explain what all this is now. So this is a traditional bank. Still, like, this is where a lot of your money goes through. Some is going to go to the house. Some will go to traditional stocks. It's more of the safe stuff, right? And then this section here is the whole crypto side, and that's the side that I'll be sharing with my audience, the viewers. So here's how this works, right? So each of these boxes represents a crypto wallet, basically, right? Like a portfolio, right? And so the first level, I'll call this level, is like your wallet, right? And so this is where you will have. This is where I will be buying most of my crypto, purchasing crypto from either having a credit card or my bank. I have you have to have like a centralized wallet, so you can have like a fiat on ramp where you can connect to your bank that you can transfer cash to, which is probably the best solution if you want to get cash there, because the fees are much more minimal. And then also it could be like a DeFi wallet as well, right? Where you can have a credit card attached to it. So a lot of stuff you have to see. Some of it is like based on speed. You might want to do credit card purchases, or because sometimes fiat could take like a day. The point is, have a couple of these, and that's going to be basically your wallet, right? And from there, it's like a hub where it shoots off to different other wallets, right? And again, you have, you gotta do a lot of testing with what assets are available in these wallets, what the fees are, how much does it cost. Some crypto exchanges, they charge you when you deposit money. That's not cool, but it's true. So you gotta look at the fees, and from there, so that's like the first level. Second level, which I'm calling like banks, right? Because in the cryptos, this is how I look at it. First is your wallet that you're using, you're buying stuff, you're moving it around. And then the second level is a bank where you could look for interest wallets, like a lot of crypto where you could earn high interest rates, which is quite much more better than your negative 0.05% that the bank gives you. So, for example, I forgot to mention, I'm backtracking here a little bit. Excuse me, but in your wallet, examples that are like Coinbase, Crypto.com, Binance, right? And also at that level is where you can do your trading, if you're into that. So the second level, banks, this is high interest rates, and that could be like BlockFi, Nexo, Celsius, things of that nature, right? And in this, each of these, for now, the way I do it, each of these rectangles represent something now, right? So for example, one of these rectangles where I'm getting high interest rates are, could be one is for the travel that I mentioned earlier. One could be taxes, right? So these could be different things. You could be saving up for something, right? And the same thing, goes for like assets. Like for example, my son's taekwondo. Whenever there's a dip, I purchase a bunch of Solana, for example, and that I use that to pay his I got a bunch, and I don't have to worry about coming up with $250 every month to pay for his taekwondo. I have a bunch of Solana, right, which has been increasing in value. So every time I gotta pay for it, I just move to Solana and pay for it, move it to his Binance, right? Boom. And another thing that you want to look for apart from fees is where you can get best interest rates, right? Just last week, just scrolling, I saw Binance was giving 105% APY on Axie Infinity. Boom. So I moved some of that stuff into the Axie Infinity now, and we're making like I don't know, like $5 a day now or something like that. Just sitting there, passive income. So you gotta start looking. You gotta like, for example, like just one way to look at it, like here. Look at this. So if you go say Binance, right? This is an example of what I do, right? So go to there's always like an earn section or something called staking, and then you see, boom, right away you'll see all the different interest rates being offered by Binance, right? In this case right now they're giving Axie 25%, 6%, right? So if you see better interest rates here than another wallet, then it might be a good idea to move it here and stake it, for example. So that's another thing. You got to keep this moving around. I have another account that I opened portfolio just for Axie Infinity, and I'm going to go into that it's over here. Axie Infinity, right? And that's one of the other portfolios I've created, an investment that I'm getting into. And then another once you have your assets running around this whole thing, making money, your money making money. That's always what you want to do. You want your money to make money, right? Not just sit in the bank and slowly die. Once you want to like let it rest, if you accumulate it enough, then you move it to cold storage, move it offline. The only problem with moving offline, a lot of these cold storages don't give you the interest rates that you can get on an exchange. But sometimes you don't want to leave so much money on exchange, so it's just it's better to put in cold storage. So that's the thing. And some of it you put in cold storage, some of it you put back in this whole let it keep flowing. Keep the money moving. Keep the money moving like water. Keep it moving like water. And the vision is you standing under a waterfall, just getting rained upon with massive amounts of cash. Anyway, that is the my updated money flow. So again, like many things, this might change and evolve, but at the moment, this is my plan. This is what I'm working with, right? Axie Infinity. So yeah, this is Axie Infinity is something that I'm quite very interested in at the moment, and this is like one of the first big play to earn games, right? When years later, when people are talking about how play to earn has become like this huge thing in our culture, right? Though Axie Infinity, people will always remember Axie Infinity was the first one, right? And it's similar. I think it's like similar to Pokemon. You have to buy 3 Axies, and from there you could breed them, fight them, go on adventures, right? So I on the dip, because everything's on it's Ethereum based, so you have Ethereum. So on that dip, I stocked up a bit more on Ethereum just for this endeavor, and just a quick high level way of doing it, instructional. If you want to get into Axie, here's what you gotta do. You gotta open up a MetaMask wallet, the DeFi wallet that works as like a Chrome extension, and it's quite. Let me see. Hold on. Let me show you on my. I'm gonna show you how it looks like when you install it. Let me see. Wow. Well, this is. Shoot. If I move it, it goes. Once I move it, it disappears. Alright, well, I'm not going to show it right anyway. So, it works on your Chrome extension. And the thing about DeFi, what makes it DeFi, there's no email, there's no passwords. There's only a password if you set it up. There's a password on the device you're using, right? And the only thing is you have these passphrases. You have to, I think, remember 12 words. You have to, write it down. Not digitally, you write it down, put it somewhere safe, and with those words you can access your DeFi. And that's how most DeFi wallets work, and you can access that on any digital device, phone, desktop, whatever, right? So you have to get MetaMask to get your Ethereum. Then you have to get a Ronin wallet, because Ronin acts like a bridge from MetaMask to your Axie marketplace. So you have to have, and the thing is, here's the thing. If you want to get into this gaming thing, you have to start stocking up on a lot of these layer ones, by the way. What is a layer one? Layer one is is like Ethereum, Avalanche, Solana. It's basically the first layer of an ecosystem where everything is being written upon. So, and by the way, that's if you're getting into this now and you're looking for things to invest and you're kind of new to this, layer ones are a good place to start. Especially now, everything's moving in the gaming industry. Like when if a new game comes out and it just pops, the layer one that it's built on is also going to pop. There's going to be a jump in price. That's just how it works. So this acts as a bridge to the Axie marketplace. So I've set this up. My ex-wife, I was like, I forget what got me into this idea. I think it was in the summer. I heard like she was playing a lot of Pokemon Go. I don't know if you remember Pokemon Go. It's a fun game, and I was surprised because I heard it in the summer. Like, she's still playing Pokemon, because I remember it was like, I don't know, 4 years ago, where I remember when Pokemon was big, and I still remember me and my daughter Jackie running around Madrid. We had a short holiday. This might have been more than 4 years ago. Wow, definitely more than 4 years ago. Going to different places in Madrid, not so much to check out the site. So yeah, that was a part of it, but also to catch Pokemon. I remember it was so fun. So I'm thinking like, wow, that was a long time ago, and she's still playing. Wow, she's really committed to this thing, right? So, and that was around the same time that I heard about Axie Infinity. right? And I actually bought I bought a bunch of coin in it, and that was before it blew up. I actually made some money off that purchase. I still have those coins, right? And right before it was around that time, and I was like, whoa, like, okay, this is like similar to Pokemon. She loves Pokemon. I wanted to play this myself, but I just don't have the time with my job, and I'm also a freelance video producer. I'm a single dad. It's, you know, I'm trying to do a crypto show, you know, as you can see, not very frequent because I'm quite a busy person. I don't have the time to play games as much as I want to. So what do you do in that case? You find someone that likes playing games and you invest in them. You invest in talent. That's what you do. Oh, that's what I did, at least. So that's I set it up already. It's all ready to go. We just have to find a time to sit down and kind of plan everything out. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. And all the proceeds, you know, I don't want a continuing stake in this. You know, I just want the money she makes from this to go to our daughter's further education in the medical field. So that's really what this is all about. Right? You see how I did that? I took something that I'm very interested in, crypto, and taking something that I feel is popping, gaming, metaverse, and I invest in that. And not only I invest in that, I'm investing in someone else's talent, and the proceeds of that goes to my daughter's education for continuing education. It's like win-win everywhere, right? So that's my approach to that. And now that I'm on the topic of gaming, I just want to mention that this back to the fundamentals, right, of this whole crypto space. I feel like this is going to keep going. It's going to keep growing, and it's still early. It's still early. There was a moment where I feel like, okay, it's not early anymore, but no, it's early again. It's still early because we're gonna go to this space. All right. Here's my thing, right? Gaming is not gonna go anywhere, right? I want to say little boys like to play games, but not just grown men and women love to play games as well. Gaming theory is in our DNA. It is, because there was a time where we're either trying to trap animals to eat or running from a tiger so we don't get eaten, right? It's in our DNA. Gaming theory is in our DNA, right? That's why we love to play games. That's why a lot of in history, it's always a booming industry, right? And it's gonna continue to be that way. And right now, what do they call it? Triple A studios, I think they call it, the big the big gaming industries, like the big gaming guys, like esports, Nintendo, I guess. But those guys, they're not even in the space yet. Those partnerships have not yet happened, but they will, because sooner or later, people can be like, oh fuck this Zelda game. I don't want to play Legend of Zelda more if you're not gonna pay me. Remember when you were like 10 years old? And all you were thinking about, how could I get $50 I could order? Nowadays it's probably a couple hundred, right? But when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, how can I raise $50 to buy this, whatever, right? And I'm just trying to think of ways, right? I used to draw pictures. Of Transformers and sell those. $1 each to my fellow classmates. I was doing really good. Although eventually I had to, a lot of the money I always ended up giving it to my mom. It was a tough life growing up. But it was okay. I felt good to help. So the kids they're all thinking the same thing now. Like, hey, how am I gonna make money? This is the way. In the Philippines, right, where my mother was born, right? In the Philippines, people are earning a living playing Axie Infinity as we speak, and this really touches me because I know how poor the Philippines is. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's poor. It's freaking poor, right? I don't want to say the country. Well, I don't know. The country is probably, but a lot of poor sections of the country, right? And I like cryptocurrency because it levels things out, A Bitcoin here in Amsterdam is worth the same as a Bitcoin in Manila. So if you have a phone, you can trade Bitcoin. If you have a computer, you can mine something. You see what I'm saying? It levels everything. I remember going to the Philippines when I was a kid and going there with U.S. dollars. I was like a rich person. I was like a rich boy, and I was treating everybody on the block, my friends, right? Because everybody was so poor, right? $1 you can feed like a few people. Might be exaggerating, but it was really like and right. I remember as a child. I remember how unfair it is. Like how we're all human beings, and these people are so poor, and my dollar is can buy so much, and these guys have to work so hard. It just didn't make sense to me. I mean, actually, as a kid, it felt kind of cool. I could buy a lot of things, but it did. I felt down deep inside that it wasn't right. I didn't like it, and that's one thing why I love. This is what I love about the technology of cryptocurrency. It's leveling out the playing field for the world. And something like Axie Infinity, people are living off of this in the Philippines. People are eating from Axie Infinity. People are paying their rent with Axie Infinity. So this is the beginning. This is going back to the fundamentals. This is a huge fundamental aspect to the crypto space. This is not going to go anywhere. You're gonna soon see big gaming companies. It's probably happening already, but they'll go public. They're going to go into the space, and then you'll see it grow much more. This alone is a big part of my conviction into this space, to be honest. Gaming and the metaverse. Right. So that's that. Operation. Oh, you know what? By the way, yesterday there was this crazy. I was a billionaire. I was a billionaire for 10 minutes. Many of us were. Yesterday, there was a huge glitch in coin market cap, and I took a screenshot. There was a moment I took a screenshot. I had $13 billion for about 10 minutes. That was kind of nice, being a billionaire. I knew it was a glitch, but it felt nice. 13 billion. Naturally, I tried to I moved some of these assets out. These are just some coins I picked up and I've been holding on. I wanted to actually move this into an Ethereum wallet. This is before I knew about. And I just learned this recently, that if you're gonna hold on to say these small tokens, look at what ecosystem it's written in and save it in the corresponding wallet. So I had the Atari token, Dragon Chain. These are ERC20 Ethereum tokens, and I had it in a trust wallet. So I wanted to get it out of there and put it on Ethereum wallet. And that's the only reason why I even moved Ethereum in here, because you have to pay gas fees to get it out. Because without this Ethereum here, I wouldn't be able to move it out, because I need Ethereum to pay for a gas fee. And when I first started to try to do this, they were asking for $80 just to move it out, which kind of defeated the whole entire purpose. So, but when I was a billionaire, I was like, hey, let's pay for this gas fee. So I moved. I was just hoping to move these out of here. I knew it was a glitch, but it was you know what? If I can move it out of here, and if it keeps this value, in this case, this Atari token, 292 mil, if I moved it out into another wallet and convert it to a different asset, let's just see. Of course, by the time I got to when I did get it to the other wallet, it was a normal price. We try, but I don't know what it is. Maybe it was timing. The Ethereum gas fee was super cheap. It was $20 to move it out, which is really cheap. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but but it was nice being a billionaire for 10 minutes. So that was nice. Okay. Maybe one day it will be for real and last a lot longer. Operation Turtle Power. What is that? What is that, you may ask? Well, it's Operation Turtle Power. Again, what is this profile that I created to share with you guys? I'm basically just slowly stocking up on this is my degen wallet, my speculative profile, right? So this is again. I mentioned it in a previous video. Speculative assets. You should not invest. I wouldn't invest more than 10% of your profile, right? Your crypto profile. If you got a crypto profile, I wouldn't, maybe 5-10%. I would, because everything it's more of a gamble in a sense, right? Because I like to be conservative. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, layer 1 stuff, right? So I want to mention that because I don't want you to think that this is my main trading portfolio, my main crypto portfolio. That would be a bit irresponsible. That's why I'm saying that. So these are speculative buys, and I'm hoping over time that they will, grow. This is where I had Axia. I bought Axia at I think $20. I remember. I think it was. But I moved it out of there because there was a better interest rate somewhere else. But that's an example. So a lot of this will be stuff in the metaverse and gaming. So the objective, I was thinking, I don't know, something crazy. Let's shoot for the stars, right? So aim for the stars. If you land on the moon, hey, that's not so bad, right? So the objective to Operation Turtle Power is to get $250,000. Why not? Yes, $250,000. It's crazy, but why not? First milestone, 100K. So now we're about 3K. We made 1,700 so far on this. Not bad. Doubled my money, if I'm reading that correctly. So yeah. So that's Operation Turtle Power. I'm not going to buy anything now because. Why? Because I kind of want to end this show. It's what time is it now? It's 1 a.m. Goodness gracious, 1:06 in the morning, Amsterdam time. I want to go to sleep soon. Basically, I have an early day tomorrow. I don't have an early day, but trying to fix my sleeping. By the way, I wanted to show this real quick. I wanted to share this real quick, in case you have doubt. Sometimes when you're in doubt, zoom out. In this case, let's zoom out to the Bitcoin chart on the week chart. Now, I like to look at these charts. I don't know, my way of looking at these charts, I don't know, for some reason they make music to me, right? I like to look at these like sound waves, right? It's like I don't know, that's what I see, right? And it just kind of like bounces, right? And sometimes you see patterns, right? So if you even on the day chart, you can see these are like bass. It's good. If the song played the way it should, we're gonna get another bass hit right here, right? Even on the daily chart, and look on the weekly chart, definitely on the weekly chart, right? You can see it's gone down, gone up, down, up, down. So now the tune is, the song I'm listening to is that it will be on its way up. That is a track that I want to hear, right? So I think that's it, folks. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting to mention that I would like to? Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Hit the like. Why not? Why not hit the like? I forgot to mention that. Hit the like, subscribe, all that jazz. Enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your week. If I don't hear, if you don't hear from me, have a great holiday. Enjoy the rest of 2021. Good luck with all your trades and everything. And Godspeed. Peace.